This pattern is number 11 and it's the first of the March Brown patterns found within Pritt's book. The dressing calls for a light orange silk, which is probably this shade here, which we would call gold. I'm here using a vintage spool of Purcell's fly tying silk. And for the rib, he states yellow silk, which again I'm using a vintage spool of Purcell's. For the wings, Pritt states partridge tail fibres, and these we simply bunch and roll together. For the tail, 2 forked strands of partridge tail fibres. For the body, Pritt states hare's ear fur mixed with a yellow mohair. What I simply do is I tease very light strands of mohair and mix it in with my fingers into the hare's ear fur. You really don't need a great deal of the yellow mohair to subtly change the shade of the fur. To start our fly, simply catching your tying silk directly behind the eye of the hook with 5-6 nice firm wraps, and then trim off that excess tag of silk. Now coming with your rib, and again catch that in with 5 or 6 nice firm wraps of silk. So now we come in and mount our tail fibres, trying to judge the length that we require. I like to tie my tail fibres reasonably long. So mount your tail fibres on top of the hook shank and slowly trap them down with your tight touching turns of silk coming down. Stop your silk somewhere between the end of the barb and the point of the hook. Now come with your dubbing and just take a light pinch of dubbing. You don't need to wax your thread. A nice twist of dubbing slowly form a nice noodle of fur. Now with your dubbed thread, bring it back up the hook shank in nice touching turns. If you've got too much dubbing, you can slowly fret the excess off. Now come to a point about 6 or 7 wraps of silk behind the eye of the hook. Now we take our yellow silk for the rib and we rib it in the same direction as we took our silk turns. This will give us a more subtle ribbing to the finished fly. Rib it in nice symmetrical turns, coming towards where your tying silk is waiting. Now trap it in with 2 nice turns of silk. Trim off the excess. Now we come into mounting our partridge hackle. Now the old-time fly tyers had a preference for partridge hackles that were speckled and not barred. You can see here this partridge hackle has a distinct bar at the end there. That's something we try to avoid, and we go for these hackles here, which are very finely speckled. As with all the North Country wet flies, we expose the tip of the hackle before tying it in by the tip. If you want, you can just trim off that tip a little bit shorter before catching in the hackle with 2 or 3 nice firm wraps of silk. If you have any waste tags, just snip them off. Now with your hackle pliers, take your hackle and just form a nice symmetrical wrap or 2 of hackle. The hackle fibres are in the way, you can just simply brush them back. Once you're happy with hackle density, then come in with your silk and trap the hackle stalk down. Take your scissors and trim off that hackle stalk. Now we come to the wing, which is partridge tail fibres. To form the wing, all we do is simply brush those fibres into a nice bunch and strip them off. Now it's important now to just cut those ends off. It will help with the bunching of the wing. And simply just fold that wing into a nice bunch of fibres, like so. Now judge the wing length. Really wants to be in line with the hook bend. Now with your silk, nice pinch and loop. Take 2 or 3 firm wraps of silk, wrapping down your wing. If you're happy with the length of the wing, come in with your scissors and trim off the excess wing fibres. Now with your whip finish tool, form a nice whip finish. Before trimming off the end of silk. And there you have Pritt's No.11 March Brown.